I was on a call with some people in my network. Someone in the group was up for a promotion, and we were helping them think through the negotiation. At some point, we started comparing notes, what we were making, what we'd ask for, what we'd accept. And when I shared my number, someone audibly gasped. That gasp told me everything, not just about salary, about influence, visibility, and how people in power had been treating me. These were people doing similar work to mine. In fact, this was a group of people that would get together to talk about strategy, processes, navigating difficult team dynamics. And out of everyone in the group, I was making significantly less. And the part that I'm not proud of is that the gap didn't happen because of one bad negotiation. It happened because of hundreds of small decisions I made without a framework. Decisions I didn't even realize I was making. Every time I stayed quiet instead of speaking up. Every time I said yes to more work without renegotiating. Every time I told myself to be patient, to stay consistent, to make myself easy to manage. I was making a choice. And those choices compounded. The way I was always asked to take notes, even when I wasn't the most junior person there, I let that happen. The way my ideas would get picked up and presented by someone else. Yep, I absorbed that. The rooms I wasn't invited to, I told myself I didn't need to be there yet. I wasn't being strategic. I was being managed. And I had taught them exactly how to do it. I'm Sarah Caminiti, and welcome back to The Career Strategist. We have spent the last 3 episodes building your foundation, defining yourself before others flatten you, understanding how power dynamics really work, and excavating your core values. Today, we're turning that clarity into leverage, because getting clear is powerful. But knowing how to protect that clarity when the stakes are high, that's when you stop being a passenger and start being an architect of your career. And here's what took me way too long to realize. You already make strategic decisions every single day. The email you respond to first, the meeting you agree to attend, the project you say yes to. Each one is a small decision that compounds over time. The problem isn't that you lack strategy. It's that when the pressure is highest, when you're facing a major career decision, you switch to survival mode. You grab the job because you're terrified of seeming ungrateful. You cling to roles because you've convinced yourself they're not that bad. You sidestep opportunities that would stretch you because you can't stomach failing in front of everyone. And reactive decisions compound. So you end up building someone else's version of your life. Something I wish someone had told me years ago is that every career decision is really 3 decisions layered together. There's the surface decision. Do I take this job? Do I ask for the raise? Do I stay or do I go? There's the identity decision. Who am I becoming by making this choice? And there's the systems decision. How does this change the game I'm playing? Most people only allow themselves to see the surface. They compare salaries and job titles and make their choice. But the real power lies in understanding how your choices impact one another across all 3 layers. A decision that looks like a step up on the surface can be an identity erosion underneath. A decision that looks lateral can fundamentally change the system you're operating in. What I had to learn, so painfully, is that there's a difference between being patient and being compliant. And if your strategy requires silence, that's not strategy. That's survival. And survival mechanisms, while necessary in the moment, will eventually limit your growth. Let me tell you what was really happening in that moment when someone gasped at that number. I had accepted a subordinate position in the power structure without even realizing it. I had shown them that I was fine being underpaid, that I didn't need visibility, that I would keep showing up and asking for nothing. Or I would ask for things and be fine when they told me no, or my favorite, not yet. For years, I'd given away my power to define my own worth and then wondered why no one else valued me appropriately. And the deeper truth here is that I had convinced myself that this was temporary, that I was building equity that would pay off later. Equity without advocacy is just free labor. Let that one land for just a second, because I need you to hear it. Every year you stay silent, every time you absorb extra work without renegotiating, every time you tell yourself they'll notice eventually, that is not you building equity. You're subsidizing someone else's success with your potential. And people benefiting from your free labor have no incentive to change the arrangement or the power dynamics making it all possible. This is the hidden cost of reactive decisions. When you don't have a framework for strategic choice, other people don't just make decisions for you. They shape the entire landscape of what seems possible. Your boss decides you're the person who always says yes. Your industry decides you're the next logical step. Your network decides what you're ready for, and the market decides what you're worth. You become a passenger in your own career, wondering why you keep ending up in the same patterns with different people. Smart people spend years climbing ladders that are leaning against the wrong walls. They end up in corner offices making good money, checking a lot of boxes, and feeling hollow because they made every decision to avoid something instead of building towards something. They never asked, what am I building towards? They were only asking, what am I running away from? How can I get out of here faster? When you make choices from that reactive place, you train people to undervalue you. You teach them that your contributions don't require recognition, that your time doesn't require fair compensation, and that your ideas don't require credit. Breaking that cycle meant having conversations I'd been avoiding for a very long time. It meant risking relationships I thought I needed. It meant accepting that some people would be uncomfortable with a new version of me, and that their discomfort wasn't my responsibility to manage. But before we dive into the frameworks, I need to address what I know you're probably thinking. Yeah, this sounds really great, Sarah, but I don't have options. I can't afford to be picky. I have bills to pay. I have a family to support. Please, no. I get it. I get it. That is the case for way too many people. I spent most of my life in that same mindset, and it is terrible when you're feeling trapped. Strategic thinking can sound like a luxury that you can't afford. But the reality is, I don't have options, is exactly what keeps you trapped. It's the story that makes you grateful for mistreatment, that makes you accept less than you deserve over and over, that convinces you to stay in situations that slowly erode your confidence and your potential. And the truth is that you always have more options than you think. Maybe not perfect options, maybe not easy options, but options. Problem is that when you're in survival mode, you can only see the most obvious ones. Stay or go, yes or no, take it or leave it. Strategic thinking is not about having unlimited choices. It's not about having a rich uncle. It's about seeing the choices you actually have and making them deliberately instead of by default. Sometimes the most strategic move is staying put while you build your network. Sometimes it's taking the imperfect role that gives you new skills, but knowing it's temporary. Sometimes it's saying no to something that looks good but would drain your energy for the opportunity that's coming next month. The frameworks I'm about to share work whether you're choosing between dream jobs or just trying to escape a nightmare. They're designed to help you see more clearly, not to require that you have perfect conditions, because perfect conditions do not exist. And most importantly, they're about developing the confidence to trust your own judgment, even when fear is telling you to grab at whatever is available. And yes, grabbing whatever is available is necessary sometimes. But if you do that, remind yourself it's temporary. It's not forever. This doesn't define me. I'm going to keep looking because at the end of the day, you do not owe these companies your loyalty forever. Just like they don't owe you theirs. So let's get into the frameworks. I'm going to give you 3 that would have changed a lot for me. I use them now with every decision, and I walk through them with a lot of people that come to me asking for a little pep talk every now and then, because everybody faces those moments that define their careers when you least expect it. Framework number 1, the room assessment. Remember the room colors from episode 2. We're going to apply them to every opportunity that comes your way. But now we're adding a crucial layer. Who controls access to which rooms? Green rooms are opportunities that are both aligned with your values and properly resourced. The work matches what you discovered about yourself in episode 3. You have the capacity to do it well, and the environment supports your success. And here's the power piece. Green room opportunities usually come through relationships and advocacy, not just applications. Yellow rooms are aligned but unsustainable. Someone with power is withholding resources while expecting full results. Maybe it's a dream project that requires sacrificing your health, or a role that fits your skills but comes with a manager who gatekeeps growth opportunities. Red rooms are fundamentally misaligned with your values, and they often stay red because the power holders benefit from that misalignment. Think about roles where they need someone to absorb dysfunction or implement unpopular decisions without question. And now I'm going to add one more. Gray rooms. Opportunities that feel unclear, usually because you're not getting straight answers from the people who control the information you need to decide. Now let me show you what I should have seen. If I'd had this framework during my salary gap years, I would have recognized immediately that I was in a yellow room. The work was aligned. I did love what I was doing. I was good at it. It connected to my values in the areas that I had control, but the power structure wasn't designed for my success. I was getting the responsibility, but not the authority, even when my job title said otherwise. I had kind of access to projects, but definitely no visibility. But really, I had the expertise, but not the equity. The question I should have been asking wasn't, how do I make this work? Which I asked myself constantly. No, the question was, what power dynamics are keeping this yellow? Do I have the leverage to shift them to green? Or do I need to find a different room entirely? In my case, I needed a different room because the people with the power to change my situation actively benefited from keeping things exactly as they were. When you're evaluating an opportunity, don't just ask if it matches your skills. Ask, what room am I walking into? And who controls whether I succeed there? Framework number 2. Strategic timing intelligence. Timing isn't just about when you're ready. It's about understanding who controls the timelines and how to position yourself within them. Strategic timing has 3 layers. Your readiness, your skills, capacity, and clarity about what you want. But what we all know is that Usually someone else gets to decide when you're ready for the next level. Recognizing this means you can either work to influence their timeline, or you can start working to create your own path. Next is market readiness, whether opportunities exist and whether you're positioned for them. But markets don't just happen. They're created by people with power to open and close doors. Understanding who shapes your market means you can position for the opportunities they create, or find ways to create your own. And relationship readiness. Whether key people, managers, senior leaders, even family, are prepared to support your move. And this is often the most political layer, because it reveals who has influence over your career trajectory and whether they're invested in your advancement or in keeping you in place. You don't need all three to be perfect, but you need to identify which one is the limiting factor and who holds the power to shift it. Heck, you just need to identify that they exist. That's really the key step in the right direction. So in my situation, for example, I was ready, and the market was ready. There were clearly opportunities for people with my skills to earn more and have greater influence, but relationship readiness was my limiting factor. I hadn't built the internal relationships that would advocate for me. I hadn't had the external conversations that would create options. And most importantly, I hadn't recognized that my current managers benefited from my accommodation. They had no incentive to change the arrangement. If I had seen this clearly, I would have known that no amount of patience or performance was going to fix a relationship readiness problem with people who were invested in my stagnation. I needed to build relationships with people who had both the power and the motivation to support my growth. That's a fundamentally different strategy than keep your head down and do good work. Strategic timing isn't about waiting for perfect conditions. It's about understanding which conditions matter most, who controls them, and then working to shift the dynamics in your favor. Framework number 3, the influence filter. Not all advice carries equal weight. Understanding whose voices have real power in your career decisions versus whose voices just feel urgent is critical for strategic thinking. When someone offers career guidance, ask yourself, do they know me well enough to understand what I'm building? Do their values align with mine? Do they have skin in the game for my success? Or are they more interested in maintaining the status quo? And critically, what power do they actually have to impact my career? Your anxious family member shouldn't influence your decisions as much as the mentor who's watched you grow and has connections in your field. The colleague who's never advocated for anyone shouldn't carry the same weight as a senior leader with a track record of developing talent. Here's the power layer that's often invisible. People who benefit from your current position will rarely advise you to change it. The manager whose life is easier because you handle everything without complaint isn't likely to encourage you to set boundaries. The organization that gets premium work for bargain prices won't spontaneously suggest you to ask for more money. Looking back at my salary situation, I was letting the wrong voices guide my choices. I was giving equal weight to advice from people who benefited from my accommodation and people who actually wanted me to succeed. I was listening to people who'd never taken career risks as much as people who had successfully navigated exactly the kind of transition I needed to make. The people most vocal about keeping you in place are often the most comfortable with you staying predictable, because your predictability serves their interest, not yours. And please know that this isn't about dismissing people. It's about being strategic with whose voices you allow into your decision-making process and understanding the power dynamics that shape the advice you're getting. Let me show you one more example of how these three work together, quickly. Say a recruiter reaches out about a director-level position. You've been in your current role for 3 years, consistently top-rated, passed over for promotion twice. Your first instinct is to jump immediately. Room assessment. The new role is green, aligned with your values, matches your skills, but you're in the middle of launching a major project that would showcase exactly the leadership you want to be known for. Strategic timing. You're ready. The market's ready. But completing this project first could strengthen your negotiating position. Could you negotiate a later start date? Could the timing actually work in your favor instead of feeling like pressure? Influence filter. Your mentor, someone who's made similar moves, suggests exactly that. Your anxious colleague, someone who's never taken a career risk, keeps pushing you to accept immediately before they change their mind. Whose voice do you weigh? The frameworks don't tell you what to decide. They tell you what to see. They tell you to pause. And when you pause and see clearly, the decision usually makes itself. Here are 3 things you can do this week to start building the muscle of strategic decision-making. Practice 1. Audit one recent yes. Think of a commitment you made in the past month. A project, a meeting, a volunteer role, anything requiring your ongoing time and energy. Run it through the room assessment. Is this a green room, aligned and resourced? Yellow, aligned but unsustainable? Red, misaligned? Or gray, unclear? If it's not green, be honest with yourself. If it's not green, ask yourself, what would it take to move this towards alignment? Or do I need an exit strategy? You're not committing to immediate action. You're building the skill of honest evaluation. Practice 2. Apply the influence filter to current advice. Find one piece of career advice you've recently received that left you feeling confused or conflicted. Ask 3 questions. Does this person understand what I'm building towards? Have they successfully navigated similar challenges? Are they more interested in my success or their own comfort? This isn't about dismissing anyone, remember, but it is about calibrating how much weight their opinion should carry in your actual decisions. Perfect example. For years, my mom would tell me, be grateful. You are so lucky. You are never, ever going to get another chance like this. Every time I would get on the phone and I would cry about something that was happening. Just hang tight. You are so lucky. You are never going to get another opportunity like this. My mom was giving me advice out of love based on what she knew in her life. But really, if I asked myself this influence filter 3 questions, did she understand what I was building towards? No, she does not understand what I do most of the time. Has she successfully navigated similar challenges? Oh, no. Is she more interested in my success or her own comfort? If I'm being honest, while of course she wants me to be successful, playing it safe, staying small, is comfortable for her. And she wants me to be comfortable. That's how that influence filter can really open up some observations that you probably wouldn't have seen otherwise. And then the last one, practice number 3. Practice 1 clean no. Find one request this week and use this exact phrase. Thank you for thinking of me, but it's not something I can take on right now. Period. No explanation needed. No apology required. Please don't do this if you're being asked to do a massive project that you're really excited about and that's actually like part of your job. Be thoughtful about your no. But the beauty of this phrase is its completeness. It acknowledges their consideration without opening a negotiation. Most people try to fill the silence with elaborate explanations. I still do this. I'm working on it. But don't do what I do. Your no is a complete sentence. That is a respectful no. Just like every week, these practices, these action items, they're not just exercises. They're the building blocks of a career that actually serves you instead of everyone else's expectations. If you've been following since episode 1, you're probably noticing that everything is starting to connect. The self-awareness work, understanding how others define you, recognizing power dynamics, clarifying your actual values. That's what gives you the foundation to make strategic decisions from a position of strength instead of desperation. You can't evaluate opportunities strategically if you don't know what you're optimizing for. You can't set boundaries if you haven't identified what you're protecting. You can't negotiate from your values if you haven't done the work to understand what they actually are. Strategy isn't about what's next. It's about what you're no longer willing to carry. Real power lives not in being indispensable to everyone, but in being irreplaceable to the right people. Not in saying yes to everything, but in knowing which yeses serve your larger vision. Next week, we're taking this decision-making clarity into the interview room. Episode 5 is all about strategic interviewing, where we flip the script from you auditioning for them to you evaluating whether they deserve your talent. When you know your values and have frameworks for assessing opportunities, the interview becomes a two-way evaluation. You're not there to impress, you're there to investigate. And you're going to know exactly how to read the room. I'm Sarah Caminiti, and this is The Career Strategist. You are capable of so much more than you realize. Thank you for listening. If you haven't yet, please follow this podcast wherever you listen to your podcasts. And if you know someone who probably could use a little bit of help in evaluating some rooms, please send this their way. I can't wait to see you next week.